ESPN 94.1 FM and AM 930 present The Drive. Brought to you by Huntington Federal Savings Bank. Local then, local now. Member FDIC.
Welcome into your Friday, January 10th edition. Drive begins now on ESPN 94.1 FM and AM 930. I'm your host, Paul Swann. You can join the program by calling the Miller Lite phone lines at 877-420-TALK. That is 877-420-8255. Miller Lite, hold true, great taste. Only 96 calories. It is the original light beer. We've got a lot to get into. Marshall getting the victory last night over Middle Tennessee, 79-75. Iron Bennett in that game, 17 points, 11 rebounds, so a double-double for that young man. And they'll take on a UAB team that defeated Western Kentucky yesterday, 72-62. So UAB, Marshall, should be an interesting one. And we got to tell you right now that they've changed the time. Marshall hasn't sent anything official yet on their channels, but we've got the official notice from all of our media partners and everyone involved that they've moved the game to 8 o'clock Eastern. So tip-off is set for 8 o'clock. All you need to know, if you want to tune in, our pregame coverage begins at 6:30 p.m. So that's different than what it was. So it's going to take place a few hours later, 8 o'clock tip. Our pregame coverage begins at 6:30 p.m. You can listen to it right here on ESPN 94.1 FM and AM 930 and on 93.7 The Dog as well. And, of course, you can stream it as well. All you have to do is go to our website at WRVC.com. You can listen to us that way, or you can listen to us on the TuneIn app. So we've got Marshall basketball tomorrow, different time. Thundering Herd going into this game yesterday against Middle Tennessee needing a win. And let's talk about Iron Bennett. First and foremost, double-double from that young man. You look at his box line, as I mentioned, 17 points. He was 7 of 14 shooting in that game. 3 of 3 from the free throw line. He had 7 defensive boards, 4 on the offensive glass. That's what adds up to 11. He only had 1 foul. That's huge for him. 1 foul. He was out there 29 minutes. You got more time out of him. He also was able to really be a part of this offense by just the fact that you didn't have to bench him. You get him in the flow of things more, and it looked pretty easy out there for a while the way he was performing. Had a couple of blocks as well. I mean, great game from him. I love it. I love the way they were able to perform because Marshall was able to go inside a lot. Saw a lot of lob passes as well. Herb was having fun out there, it felt like, for a while. Marshall scored 46 points in the paint. Middle Tennessee could only manage 28. Marshall won the battle off the turnovers. They got 12 points off turnovers. Middle Tennessee ended up with 10. Second chance points, 15-14 in favor of Middle Tennessee there. 20-12, the fast break points in favor of Middle. And bench scoring, I mean, really not a factor. 16-13 in favor of Middle Tennessee because you look at where your offense came from for the Thundering Herd. Andrew Taylor, 9 points, 3 of 11 there. Tavion Kinsey, 13 points, 5 of 11 shooting. Bennett, as we mentioned, was 17 points. Don't forget Jared West right there. Jared has 16 points. He shot 5 of 8 from the field, including 4 of 4 from the three-point line and 2 of 2 from the free throw line. He also had 2 rebounds, 1 on each side of the glass. He was playing at one point with 3 fouls. He also had 3 assists in that game, 1 turnover, 1 steal. He's out there 26 minutes. You get 16 points from him. Now, Darius George, again, having some success, 11 points, 5 of 7 on the shooting night for him. He took 1 3-pointer, missed it. He did hit his lone free throw. And you look at what he did defensively, he had 5 rebounds, 2 on the offensive glass, so he had 7 rebounds total, very important there, playing with only 2 fouls. Also had a couple of turnovers there, but he's out there 24 minutes. And then Jansen Williams, 21 minutes. That's an improvement on his minutes as of late. He was 4 of 8 shooting, 9 points. He's a shooter, so he was 1 of 4 from the three-point line. You like to see him hit a couple more of those, but again, He took 4, hit 1, so he's 25% from the three-point line. But he's 4 of 8 total in the contest. 9 points. But what else did he do? Well, he had 4 rebounds on the defensive glass. He was playing with just 1 foul. He also had 3 blocks and 1 steal. 3 blocks, 1 steal. 21 minutes, 9 points. I'll take that line from him. I'd like to see him get into double digits and get a few more minutes out there, maybe get a few more looks, get that past 10, maybe 11, 12 for him, get the scoring really going. But 9 points from Jansen Williams in that contest, 21 minutes. I like to see Jansen do well. So Thundering Herd, go down the line here. You had 4 players in double digits. You had 2 players 1 point shy of double digits. You have 1 player with a double-double in Iron Bennett. And you look at where this game ended up, 13 fouls. That's good. I'll take that. 13 fouls. 16 assists, 13 fouls. Turned it over 14. That's okay. Middle turned it over 12. Marshall turned it over 14. 14's fine. It's not high. It's not low, but it's not high. You'll take 14. So you can't complain with that. Nowhere in this box, even though this game was tight, 79-75, nowhere in this box really can you take issue with what Marshall did last night. You just found out that Middle Tennessee was a determined team, and they came to play too, to be fair. First half in that contest, Marshall was 50%, 16 of 32. So 1 of 2 shots went in. Half their shots went in. 4 of 10 from the three-point line. If they're a little bit better there, they're shooting higher than 50%. Second half, the Herd shoots 15 of 32, 47%. So for the contest, 48.4%. Overall, 31 of 64, 8 of 18 from the three-point line. They were a little bit better in the second half from the three-point line. 4 of 8. So 50% there. 40% in the first half, 50% in the second half. You'll take it. Free throw line, they got 17 opportunities. They made 9. 3 of 8 in that first half. You'd like to see them hit a few more of those in that first half to really give them some cushion. Second half, they hit most of them, 6 of 9. For the contest, the Thundering Herd shot 67% in the second half, 38% in the first half. So that is where it stands for the Thundering Herd. All right, we're going to talk a little bit more about this Marshall game coming up against UAB. We've got that coming up. Also, we will get your phone calls in at 877-420-TALK, 877-420-8255. We'll take a look at the NFL playoffs, those coming up this weekend. Marshall women in action yesterday. We will talk about that. And, of course, big contract for the Mountain West Conference. The Mountain West agreeing to a huge deal with CBS Sports and Fox Sports. Mountain West getting their TV money. So we'll talk about all of that and more when we continue on today's edition of The Drive here on ESPN 94.1 FM and AM 930.
This is The Drive with Paul Swann on ESPN 94.1 FM and AM 930. Presented by Huntington Federal Savings Bank. Guests with Paul Swann appear via the Miller Lite phone lines.
877-420-TALK. That's the toll-free number to be a part of today's edition of the show. Marshall with the victory yesterday over Middle Tennessee, 79-75. Not many people showed up for this one. I was watching it on the feed yesterday and looking at ESPN Plus. You go down to the Murphy Center. It's a great arena. It's really fun place to see when it's full of fans, and not the case. They reported their attendance 2,703. Unless I was missing a camera angle or two, I didn't see 2,703 in attendance at the Murphy Center for that one. So it almost looked like a friends and family crowd. And you look at Middle Tennessee's record, winning only 4 games at that point. Not very good. I can see where the fans would be down on this team. And it's still a good basketball team. They've had a pretty tough basketball schedule. And their schedule was tough coming into this, and so I hope their fans don't get down on them. They've got Western Kentucky coming in, Marshall, of course, heading off to UAB on the schedule. And again, if you didn't join us earlier in the program, I need to remind you, or at least let you know, make you aware, that there's been a time change. There's some threat of weather, and so if Marshall would have played early, they would have come back on their flight. It would have possibly hit the bad weather. So severe weather is what is forecast. Marshall and UAB going to play later on in the evening. So they're going to tip 8 o'clock Eastern. We'll have that game for you starting at 6:30 with our pregame coverage right here on ESPN 94.1 FM and AM 930, and again on 93.7 The Dog. So new time for the game, 8 o'clock. That's when we tip. Our broadcast begins at 6:30. So last night, Marshall getting the victory. You know, one guy that was really happy, Dan D'Antoni. That's who was really happy.
You know, I thought we played up until that point. We played real good defensively on their three-point shooting. That took them on up there, though, above 52, way too high. But they did shoot the ball well. You got to give them credit for that. So good win. Anytime you do it on the road, it's a good win.
Aaron Bennett, Coach, he was able to stay on the floor tonight. He gave you almost 30 minutes. He averages about 20. But he got a double-double tonight, a block, actually 2 blocks. Gave you good effort out there tonight.
Well, he's the load inside, you know. And, again, we're just scratching the surface with him. He's going to get better and better and better. And I know this summer, I'm looking at him right now, he's going to work on his little jump shot and get the ball a little bit higher, and he's going to have a little bit more than that little turnaround hook that he's got, which he's good at. But for a man his size, he's very agile, a very good player, and a big part, well, a real big part of why we won tonight.
You also, at the end, had to go against that unusual defense, something you don't see every day, trapped, and they caused some problems. But then, last couple of possessions, you made them pay for it.
Well, the problems they caused were our fault because we weren't expecting them to really come at us, and that's on us, not them. But every time we handled the ball just halfway decent, we got into Iram, he scored a layup. So I think we can continue to do that and keep working on that as we go through. And Jared hit a big 3 right at when we had to have it. Andy, we're in a little drag, and we were looking to go into Iron, but they came so hard at him, we threw it back to Jared wide open, and he knocked down a big shot.
How about Jeremy Dillon? We haven't had a chance to talk about him, but he came in at the end of the first half, gave you a spark. He ended up with 3 rebounds, 2 assists, 2 steals, and really had some timely plays in the end of the first and even when he got in the game in the second half.
Well, he was really good the first half. The second half, and that's the problem I have because, you know, Cam has a really good game, but that's freshmen. That's what they do. One game they'll be really good. Next game you're going, what is going on? But, you know, I thought overall we keep gaining experience. We keep playing together, and they're a fun group to coach, a fun group to watch play. And like I said, it's a good road win, 2-1, puts us back to 500. Go down to UAB, and we got to bring our A game. That's going to be a good ball club.
Yeah, Coach is going to be in a good mood for the bus ride down to Birmingham tomorrow.
Well, I'll talk to you at breakfast. It'll be better, and I got crossword puzzles waiting on me as soon as I go home.
Dan D'Antoni, he's got crossword puzzles waiting on him. Of course, hopefully he's going to have some crossword puzzles to keep him busy between now and tip time, which is, again, 8 o'clock. Change of time for the Thundering Herd against UAB, 8 o'clock, the new tip time. We'll have the broadcast for you right here on ESPN 94.1 FM and AM 930. Another guy who really should be happy, and that's one, Aaron Bennett. He definitely should be pleased with his performance. A double-double in that contest, 17 points. 11 rebounds. Steve Cotton caught up with Aaron Bennett.
It was tough because I felt like, well, all of us felt like we just gave them the game. Like, we had it. We just made a couple of late mistakes and stuff and let them get going at the end. And it was really sucked. So coming in here, like we wanted to win. Like, we want to, and next game, like, we want to win that game too. So we were just really kind of mad from that. And I guess they just gave us the intensity, came out, played hard. Everybody played good, played hard, good defense, everything. It was good. It was good tonight.
All right, it seems like as the season's going on, you're getting a more comfortable feel in the post as far as reading where the guy is and the timing. Tonight you had a lot of great moves just with your spin move.
Yes, sir.
You were balanced on your feet. And then the other thing, too, is when the double team come, there's a timing to that, and you're finding the open shooters outside.
Yes, sir. I mean, all it is just Coach Klein, Coach Dan, and them, we just work in practice all the time, like on stuff like on me getting double teamed, them coming, me have to pass it out, post back up again. That's all it is, just working, repetition, and that's all it is.
And what about, Charlie said, those spin moves? Quick on your feet there.
Oh yes, sir. I got that from Coach Klein too. He taught me that. He just told me, like, anytime I'm in the post and, like, since I'm so big, like, guys are gonna be, like, right up on my back pushing me very hard. So all I got to do is just spin. Since I'm so big, just use my body and I can get, like, right by them, just spin off of them. So yeah, kudos, shout outs to Coach Klein for that.
And how about the fact tonight? 29 minutes, 16 seconds. Steve just looked it up. That's the second most minutes you've played in the game. First time was at Florida, but you've been able to stay on the floor. You only picked up your first foul with under a minute. And the one things we talk about on the broadcast, it seems like when the ball goes into the post, you're doing a better job staying vertical,
yes,
and you're not picking up those quick fouls.
Yes, sir. Like I said again, it's just getting used to it, playing all these games, just seeing how I'm supposed to go up, or just making sure I'm not coming down on them and fouling them or whatever. Just staying up, jumping, try not to foul. That's it. Try to be strong.
That's Iron Bennett after the broadcast, speaking to Steve Cotton, of course, coach and Iron, courtesy of Learfield IMG. Paul Swann, your host for today's edition of The Drive here on ESPN 94.1 FM and AM 930. We're going to look ahead tomorrow to Marshall and UAB on our pregame show, but Thundering Herd gets the victory tonight, yesterday, 79-75. When we continue, we're going to talk a little bit about what's coming up this weekend. We got the National Football League to talk about, several games to tell you about, also a nice little chunk of change going the Mountain West way. We'll talk about that. Does that mean Conference USA might see some increased revenues? Probably not, but I'll tell you what it looks like when teams and conferences do get revenue when we continue with today's edition of The Drive here on ESPN 94.1 FM and AM 930.
Never miss a moment of The Drive with Paul Swann. Subscribe on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or wherever you get your podcasts.
Welcome back to the Friday edition, The Drive on ESPN 94.1 FM and AM 930. Paul Swann, your host. We're presented this hour by Huntington Federal Savings Bank. Thundering Herd getting the victory yesterday against Middle Tennessee, 79-75. And we want to remind you that coming up tomorrow, new time for the Thundering Herd and UAB. It's going to be an 8 o'clock tip. We'll have it for you right here on ESPN 94.1 FM and AM 930. So, television has been a big issue for Conference USA, and for a lot of Herd fans, it is something that is sort of a sore spot in certain spots, at least. You don't like how the Facebook games are going, or the fact that there's not that much exposure. And I know the new one now is, at least for some, is that ESPN Plus and streaming games aren't fair to people in the state of West Virginia. And I get all of that, I completely do, because, well, let's be honest, broadband is not the very best here in the Mountain State. Hopefully that will get better, but this is the shape of things to come, and is also the shape of things now with these broadband deals. But there's still a place for linear, over-the-air, or cable satellite-delivered sports programming. There's still a place for it in the foreseeable future, and the Mountain West is getting a piece of theirs. They have agreed to a 6-year media rights deal with CBS Sports and Fox Sports. If you put it all together, it's going to be worth $270 million combined. Here's what they get. You get football and men's basketball. It starts in the 2021 season, and it runs through the 25-26 season. They're still trying to figure out the third-tier rights right now, so no solid info on that yet. But they're adding Fox. So Fox is picking up the Mountain West. And so Fox is going to show the conference's football championship game. CBS Sports Network will still be the primary television rights holder. So they're doubling down, putting their bet again on the Mountain West. This is what the deal looks like. If you break it down for CBS Sports, it comes like this. 23 games on CBS or CBS Sports Network. That's huge. CBS or CBS Sports Network. I'm sure the majority are going to be on CBS Sports Network, but still, you've got that opportunity to be on CBS. And you've got at least a deal here where a minimum of 3 games will be on CBS. So this isn't, hey, we're going to carry 1 game on CBS and the rest are going to be on CBS Sports Network. No. You get 3 games. Okay, that's pretty good. That's solid. That's a good start. Mountain West, hey, look, Boise's got a big matchup. Let's put that on CBS. You think Marshall and Conference USA could ever enjoy a deal like that? I don't see it happening, but it'd be nice. Now, here's what else you get. There's also 10 additional games available for CBS. The network receives the first 7 picks of conference-controlled games and the right to all Boise State Conference road games. So, Boise State Conference road games, CBS or CBS Sports, guess what? There's potential you might see Boise State a lot on CBS. Now, keep this in mind. Conference USA partners with CBS Sports Network. Guess what? I'm telling you that Boise State Marshall game is going to be televised. Somewhere good. That's just this feeling I have. I can't tell you. I just have a feeling that's going to be a good TV pickup for somebody. Just depends on the pecking order. I'm kind of curious how that's going to shake out. Now, Fox is going to show the football championship game on either Fox or FS1, and it's going to be played either on a Friday or Saturday. How's that, though? You got to wait till TV decides, hey, your championship game's going to be played on a Friday? I'm sure they are going to at least break that down a little sooner than, okay, we found out the matchup today. You guys are playing on Friday. I would think if they kind of have an idea where that's going to go, the championship game, they will break that down sooner. But still, Friday or Saturday for your championship game. Also, there will be 16 to 23 games shown during the regular season. The rights of Boise State home games, guess what? The network has the rights to all those. So, it basically comes down to Boise State. That's it. This is the deal. Mountain West, scratch that out, put Boise State, comes to deal with CBS and Fox Sports. It's the Boise State network. So Boise State home games, guess what? All Boise State home games, Fox Sports in some form or fashion. Boise State conference road games, guess what? CBS Sports Network. Boise State's taken care of. Everybody else, you guys, you'll benefit from this too, but this is really the Boise State network. You know it. I mean, look at the CBS logo. It's Boise State color. Come on. All right. Here's another nugget from this deal. A maximum of 4 Hawaii football games can be picked collectively by the 2 networks each year. Okay. That's not bad. Now, this is football. What's it do for basketball? Well, CBS networks will show the Mountain West men's basketball championship game on CBS. The game is going to be played on the NCAA tournament selection weekend. So you're getting ready for selection Sunday. You're leading up to that. Guess what? Throw in the Mountain West. That's going to be in the conversation. Make sure some good television. There's going to be 32 games on CBS or CBS Sports Network. Now, the network's going to pick up the first 12 picks of league-controlled games, and then they're going to alternate with Fox. So they get the first 12 picks, and then Fox, CBS, or CBS Sports Network, they're going to alternate. Fox Sports, they're going to show 16 to 32 regular season games with a minimum of 12 annually on Fox or FS1. Every other contest featured on FS1 or FS2. And if I'm Fox, I'm making sure that I have good quality programming on FS2 because FS2 is like the forgotten child. I don't even know if I have FS2, to be honest with you. I have not clicked down and scrolled down to find it. And for the most part, I haven't missed anything. Have I not? I don't think so. Now, this is going to be a solid media package for the Mountain West. The Mountain West. Basketball is, of course, going to be a big deal for this. Football as well, Boise. You're on Fox. You're adding Fox to your resume. And you're also adding more exposure for one of your premier conference teams, Boise State. I mean, if anything, the Mountain West is basically saying, look, we know which school is the straw that stirs the drink. We know it's Boise State. The networks are saying, hey, look, we want to take your games. We're all in. But you got to make sure that we get some Boise State action. We have got to make sure that we're taken care of on a national level. And what's the school that people nationally know and like? Boise State. Now, it's good if you are playing against Boise State, because if you're at Boise State, guess what? You're going to be sitting pretty. I mean, you're going to be sitting pretty television-wise. On the road in conference, you know what? Still not bad. Your game's probably going to be picked up by either CBS or CBS Sports Network. I mean, again, the network gets the first 7 picks of conference-controlled games and the rights to all Boise State conference road games. That's CBS Sports. How's that work, though? I'm kind of curious. The network receives the first 7 picks of conference-controlled games and the rights to all Boise State conference road games. So is that in addition, or is that just part of it? And, of course, they can't pick the Boise State home games, right? Because the network that has the right to all the Boise State home games is Fox. I'll just be curious to see what the TV package looks like when they actually select these. We'll go down it. What is interesting about this is that the Mountain West is not the American, but yet it's getting solid money. This is a deal worth $270 million. Now, is Conference USA going to get a deal like this? You tell me. TV money is going to help the Mountain West. The American, not going to be what they consider a Power 5. If you don't see the air quotes. American doesn't care. They're Power 6. They're just happy to be Power 6. Mountain West, they're going to be in the mix as well. So really, you look at the haves and have-nots. It's going to be the upper echelon conferences, whatever you want to call them, Power 5, I don't care. Autonomy 5, as the commissioner of Conference USA calls them. The Autonomy 5. Then it's the American, and I'm going to say the Mountain West right there. American Mountain West. So that leaves fighting for the bottom, the MAC, the Sun Belt, and Conference USA. Where does Conference USA rank as far as television excitement? You tell me. You tell me. Does it rank above the Sun Belt? I don't know. Appalachian State's making a good name for itself right now. Does Conference USA rank above the MAC? Possibly. The MAC is such a condensed league. The MAC has got a lot of alumni, a lot of fans, and it's got its own thing going. And then here's Conference USA, this mishmash, this hodgepodge of schools, East, West Coast. You've got FIU, Louisiana Tech. You have Western Kentucky, UTSA. You have Marshall. You have Rice. You have Florida Atlantic, Middle Tennessee. You have North Texas, UTEP. You have Charlotte, Southern Miss, UAB, Old Dominion. And that's also, by the way, the order of win-loss record in Conference USA. No, check that. Actually, I read the scoring offense. That's how the teams rank in scoring offense. I was actually reading that list off of scoring offense in Conference USA. The point is, you've got a diverse league, but you don't have the television bang for your buck the networks are looking for. I mean, are the networks going to hand over $270 million for the right to carry Conference USA football and basketball? No, they're not. Because I can't name a school that demands national attention. top to bottom, including Marshall, I can't name a school that demands the national attention that, say, Boise is getting. Because you look at this, read between the lines here. The deals with CBS and Fox Sports include, at least on the football side, strong access to Boise State, because Boise State's the straw stirring the drink, not just in the conference, but on a wider level, on a more national level. And so the Mountain West is going to benefit from that. And it's great for the Mountain West because it's going to be exposure for some of their programs. And all of a sudden, you could see 2 or 3 of their programs, their upper echelon football programs over a period of few years, be in the conversation. I mean, the American right now has 2 or 3 teams that are constantly in the conversation. The Sun Belt has Appalachian State. Tell me a team in Conference USA that's in the conversation right now. And you know how you fix that? You win. Winning puts you in the conversation. This isn't a bottomless pit. There's no can't get out of this situation, but it's going to take a lot of hard work, and it's going to have to happen from a league level. You're going to have to see the league do better. And that includes Marshall. Marshall's going to have to do better. So when Marshall goes up against Pitt, got to win that game. When Marshall goes up against Boise State, you got to win that game. When Marshall plays Ohio, you got to win that game. When Marshall takes on East Carolina, you got to win that game. And then you got to go through your conference schedule, and you got to win all those. And then Marshall can get into this conversation the way Appalachian State got into the conversation. I'm not saying they're going to be the team that gets picked to go to a New Year's Six game, an access game, but they'll be in the conversation. And if they're in the conversation, then people are talking about them. If people are talking about them and Marshall keeps winning, they can stay in the conversation. And then maybe one day Marshall will get picked. I know, easy, right? It's not. It really isn't. It's going to take a strong effort, top to bottom, from Marshall, Conference USA as well, because Conference USA doesn't have the luxury of saying, hey, here, Fox Sports, come on over. We're going to give you total access. We'll give you all of Marshall's home games. Will that work for you? Hey, CBS, we're going to guarantee you get access to every single Marshall Conference road game. How about that? Of course, what I would be doing is, hey, NFL Network, Marshall. Pick Marshall. Or take one of the few teams that you've got that's pretty good. Hey, Louisiana Tech. You make sure that your schedule includes Marshall, Louisiana Tech, UAB, Florida, Atlantic. Get them in there. Work them in there a little bit. North Texas, sure. Get them in there as well. I'd take my best programs, and I would make sure that every year that they're getting a little extra love from the bigger networks. I would try to feature what I think are going to be the bigger, better matchups. If I'm Conference USA, of course, if I'm Marshall, hey, we'll take whatever you got, but hey, can we get on the big ship? Can we get on the NFL Network? Can we get the big picture here? Can we stay off Stadium Facebook? Hey, is that possible? Can we avoid that one? Can we avoid Stadium Facebook? Would that be okay? Of course, I'm going to be honest with you. I still like ESPN Plus. I don't think that's a problem there. It's a good platform. If you have ESPN Plus like I do, sometimes I'm on there. I'm looking for stuff. I really am just trying to find things to watch on ESPN Plus because I'm paying $4.99 a month, and it's expensive. So I'm trying to justify my purchase there. No, I mean, I take advantage of it. I'm using it for different things. I'm watching Marshall. I mean, primarily the two things I'm watching ESPN Plus for are Marshall, but the value for me is all the hockey I can watch and every other crazy sport that's on there. Hey, if I have a slight interest in something, and there it is, I get more options. And, of course, it's an add-on. I understand. I treat it as an add-on. But that's where the Marshall games are, or Conference USA games. Opportunity there for me. And if you like different sports, like me, I love hockey. You listen to this show any length of time, you know that. I'm excited. I'm happy to be able to watch hockey, and it's definitely cheaper for me to get the main hockey package because I get a game or two almost every night they're playing. That's fine. I don't necessarily get the game I want to watch all the time, but it's a good value proposition. And I think Marshall fans are more receptive to that. And the fact that, it's pretty cool that I get to actually just take my phone. I can watch the game wherever I'm at, or I can take my tablet, or I can sit at home and I've got this new library of games. All right, we are going to wrap it up when we continue. We'll start trying to get your phone calls in at 877-420-TALK, 877-420-8255. We've got more on the way. It's The Drive here on ESPN 94.1 FM and AM 930.
You're listening to The Drive with Paul Swann on ESPN 94.1 FM and AM 930.
877-420-TALK, 877-420-8255 to be a part of the Miller Lite phone lines, and let us go to the phones. And Bill's checking in tonight. Go ahead. You're on The Drive.
Yeah, just to say what I told you off the air, I sort of enjoyed your rant about the CUSA TV situation. I just have a quick question to throw out right there. Does anybody believe that the present leadership, from the school to the conference offices, are in a position to, make things any better?
I don't know if it's a school issue. I'll say that.
I think it's a school issue also, and the reason is that quite frankly, this USA is the last 4 or 5 seasons have been Dreck, football-wise.
Okay, I understand what you're saying.
That's what drives the ship. Yeah,
I understand what you're saying. It's not. I don't think it's this leadership issue. I think you're right. There's top to bottom, you don't have that team that adds that supreme value to Conference USA the way, say, Boise State does the Mountain West, or Appalachian State right now. They've been pretty good in the Sun Belt. And the way that a few teams have really shown up in the national spotlight in the American. So, yeah, you're right. It is a school problem. Winning cures it all, but we haven't seen really 1 or 2 teams take over and be that ultra-dominant team.
And even if that team were dominant within the conference, Conference USA has very few, signature wins, put it like that, out of conference. And that's a huge problem. It's like you pointed out before. And locally right here, I've got no confidence that the, Marshall football is going to get any better to be the bell cow for the conference anytime soon, as long as the present administration's in place. And that's a problem locally right here. I mean, Marshall was the Boise State of the MAC, if you want to think about it, back in the, back during the, late 90s through the 2000s. So it's just, I don't know, it's kind of hopeless in a sense, unless, something big happens, somebody makes a game-changing hire somewhere or another.
I don't know if the current system right now is going to lean towards Conference USA anytime soon, because I don't see where you can put a tourniquet on this, stop the bleeding as far as the revenues coming in. It's going to take several seasons, not just have this one breakout season. But you point out where Marshall was successful in the MAC in the 90s, and what if we had the current landscape now with Marshall's success then? I mean, Marshall would be the team that you lean on the most, and they would definitely be in the conversation a lot more. Unfortunately, we're in a situation where, you're right, no signature wins. I mean, I can't argue with that, because you get the wins, people start paying attention more to you. And I'll say this, though, the schedule, you do have some opportunities, you just got to take advantage of them.
Yeah, like we did Cincinnati this past year.
Yeah.
Anyway, I'll let you go. Hear the music going.
I appreciate it. I've burnt that Cincinnati film, by the way. I hope never to see that Cincinnati game again. Thank you, Bill. Cincinnati aside, they played well against Boise. You got to win those games. Plain and simple. I mean, I'm not pointing out anything that isn't obvious. You got to win those games. You want to win those games, you will get more attention, and you will increase your profile by winning the higher profile games. That's going to do it for this edition. Don't forget, we've got basketball airtime tomorrow, 6:30 p.m., 8 o'clock tip right here, ESPN 94.1 FM and AM 930.
WRVC Huntington, W227BS Huntington, your flagship home of the Marshall Thundering Herd and The Drive with Paul Swann, ESPN 94.1 FM and AM 930.